alaikum, everyone. Association of Irish Pakistani Physicians and Surgeons. They're bringing a video session for you to discuss different career opportunities for doctors who want to work either in Pakistan, UK, America, or Ireland. So we have Dr. Farkhanda with us. Dr. Farkhanda is a graduate of King Edward Medical University. So Dr. Farkhanda, I will ask you to introduce yourself, please. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much, Dr. Muazzam, for the kind introduction. I am currently doing my basic specialty training in medicine from Sligo University Hospital, Ireland. And the purpose of the video is to share my experiences that I've learned over the past few years.
And I'm Mozam Gulzar. I graduated from Wa Medical College, Kent, and I recently completed my MRCPI and working as a pediatric respiratory registrar in Fala Hospital, Dublin. So Dr. Farkhanda, so our topic is very interesting and like it's for all the medical students and new graduates who are in the limbo that where should they go or where should they pursue their careers. So would you like to start going through our slides and our discussion, and then we'll talk about this.
Sure. So firstly, we're going to discuss this topic by talking about the entry into the healthcare system for the different countries and the career progression as well in these countries. So talking about the entry, if we discuss Ireland first of all, for Pakistani graduates, it's pretty easy to come to Ireland because there are no entrance exams required. All you need is your house job that should have started in 2009, and then you need to get the IMC registration. So for this purpose, it can take around 8 to 10 months. Unfortunately, because of COVID, it's taking a bit longer. And the expenses are just about 3 to 4 lakh Pakistani rupees we're talking about. However, if you talk about Pakistan, the entry into the healthcare system for Pakistan, you obviously need to do house job first of all. After that, you can take the entrance exams, whether it be MD or FCPS Part 1 exams. And so the charges incurred for the entry into healthcare system for Pakistan is just the fee of those entrance exams, which can be around 15 to 20,000 Pakistani rupees. And the duration can differ because now, as you know, there is a central induction policy. And for that, you need to have clinical experience in BHU, THQ, or even a tertiary care hospital. So sometimes that experience can be for 2 years, 3 years. So it all varies. And if you have research, that would increase your chances of getting into a training program in Pakistan. So it's not very easy to enter a training program in Pakistan because of these things now. And then if we talk about UK, so it's a bit more difficult as compared to Pakistan and Ireland because there are the entrance exams. So entrance exams, either we have PLAB or there is MRCP pathway. So PLAB exam, PLAB 1 and PLAB 2. Or if you want to go through the MRCP pathway, then there is MRCP Part 1, Part 2, and PACES. That can take around 1 to 2 years, depending upon your previous clinical experience, your background knowledge. There are people who take the exams and prepare for it in lesser time. There are people who can take longer time as well. So I would say it can take around 1 to 2 years to enter the system in UK as well. And the expenses for UK, they can vary from 8 to 10 lakh Pakistani rupees. So if we take from the financial point of view, it's a bit more expensive to get into the UK healthcare system. And lastly, when we talk about USA, so it is one of the most toughest systems to enter into because for USA, you need to pass the USMLE exams, and they are very tough exams. There are people who can take 2 years. There are some who take even longer to pass those exams. So that is one of the major hurdle. And then after the exams, when you apply for the match, and then you need the clinical experience, US clinical experience as well, to make a better resume. So the expenses incurred in all of this can be from 20 to 30 lakh Pakistani rupees, which is a huge amount, obviously.
Yeah, it is definitely. Yeah.
For a middle-aged person, middle-aged income.
Yeah.
So in comparison, we see that it is the most toughest to get into the USA healthcare system. But when we will talk about the career progression, we'll see that the career progression is a lot easier in US after the initial hurdle. But we'll get to that at a later point.
Okay, great. Thank you. And I think like you just spoke about Pakistan and UK and America, and I'll try to mention about Ireland as well, and we'll try to actually rephrase and summarize in the end as well. But before that, I'll just talk about Ireland. I think for Ireland, it's easy to enter. It's straight away after the house job. You just have to do your house job with certain rotations, and then you get your certificate, and from PMC you apply house job within a year. You get IMC, and then you can apply for the job. So it's very easy. And for if we talk about expenses, it's maybe 1 to 2 lakhs. Maximum can go up to 3 lakh Pakistani rupee, and within a year you can come to Ireland practically. And if we talk about financial stability, so I would say my personal experience, and I have checked with my friends as well from US and UK. So Ireland is definitely like I would grade it on the top if we compare these four countries: Pakistan, America, UK, and Ireland. So you earn a good amount of money. Your work-life balance is very good, and then after that, maybe America is this number two for financial stability, and then UK, and definitely we all know Pakistan comes at last slot. So after financial stability, it is a very important aspect when you are considering where you want to go or where you want to work. So I think this is the plus point of for Ireland. Number one, quick entry. Number two, great financial stability. Like so, and then the other thing is career progression. Before coming to aspects of career progression in Ireland, I think I will just ask you, Dr. Fakanda, what do you think? How do you compare it in UK and America and Pakistan?
So, like you said, it's very difficult to get into the US healthcare system. But once you are in the system and you have landed a residency in any program, a residency in, let's say, internal medicine for 3 years, after that, you have two choices. Either you want to go into the primary care system, as for example, like we say GP in Ireland, but in US they call it the primary care physician. So after the 3 years of residency, you can become a consultant directly. Okay. So that's one of the plus points. The other thing is, if you are more career oriented, more ambitious, you want to do some fellowship in, let's say, cardiology or neurology or any of those, you have equal opportunity as all the others applying in the system because you are a US diplomat. So that is one of the biggest plus points if you're very ambitious, that you can get a fellowship in anything that you want of your choice. And that can be a further 2 years or 3 years. So that's one of the biggest points of US that may be hard to get in, but once you're in the system, it's sky's the limit then. Yep. You can do whatever you want, primary care, any fellowship. So that's one of the biggest things. Now, if we talk about Pakistan, now, unfortunately for Pakistan, it's become a bit more difficult to get into training, even if you are a graduate of, like I'm a graduate of King Edward Medical University. I know many of my class fellows, they found it very difficult to get into a training system, into a training program in Pakistan because of the central induction policy, which I don't know, it has some weird criteria and all that. But they require clinical experience in BHU, in THQ, or even tertiary care level. And that makes it just very difficult. And if you have research, so all of those things, it makes it very difficult to get into the system. But once you're in the system, all you need to do is complete your training and then pass the Part 2 exam, which we know can be very tough. Yeah. So for Pakistan, difficult to get in, but once you're in, you do get through. But the thing is, at the end of the entire struggle, it doesn't pay off that well financially. So that's one of the downsides of doing training in Pakistan, that it doesn't pay off as well.
Yeah.
As well, you could say that's so hard to get in, but it doesn't pay off that well.
Yeah.
And then for UK, if we talk about career progression in UK, so what happens over there is that once you have the GMC registration, like we said, with all the entrance exams and everything, once you have the GMC registration, it's again preferred that you do a non-training job first. Because if you try to get into a training job with just a house job in Pakistan, it can be a bit tough to get into it. So a non-training job to get acquainted with the system. Then they have an exam which is called the Multi-Specialty Recruitment Assessment Exam. So that exam,
Okay. Sorry,
that
I was
is
not aware of that. I think they have recently brought that in.
yes. So that exam is required if you want to enter into any training, for example, GP training or even pediatrics or psychiatry, OBGYNs, any of those specialities. They have single exam for all of those specialities. If you pass that exam with certain marks, I think 500 something, I don't
Okay.
remember the exact marks, but if you
Okay.
pass it above a certain level, you can straight away get offers.
Okay.
But if you get below a certain level, then you need to appear in an interview. And then after the interview process, you can get offers into a training program.
Okay.
So that's one of the things. So there's another exam in
Okay.
UK after the PLAB or MRCP. There's
Okay.
another exam if you want to enter into training.
It's not straightforward.
It's not straightforward. You need another exam after that as
Okay.
well.
Okay.
And then there's a core medical training, which comprises of 3 years. And
Mhm.
then after that, there's another specialized training, which can be 4 years or 5 years, depending upon your specialty.
Mhm.
So career progression in UK, it is a bit tough because of the exams at every level, and then you need to apply at every level again.
Mhm.
So that's how it is in UK. But ultimately, when you become a consultant, you do get well paid. And also, I forgot to mention about the GP training. So with GP training, it's for 3 years. So after you have passed that multi-specialty recruitment assessment exam, then you get into the GP training for 3 years, and then you come out as a consultant. So that's also one of the plus points you can say that
Okay.
you can
Great.
get into the system.
Yeah, that's great. And if we talk about Ireland, so I think if we talk about career progression, Ireland is the least option I would prefer. But there are other things we need to consider as well. So at the moment, we're talking about only career progression. If you want to become a consultant in Ireland after getting your IMC registered, either via MRCPI, press, or press exemption, whatever way you got it. So after getting your IMC, again, like UK, you'll have to work standalone jobs, non-training jobs to build your CV up. And then either you can come work in Ireland as a HAC CPSP pathway, like you do your IMM in Pakistan, or some of the specialties, like some of the doctors I know, they even after completing their FCPS. So and then they come with CPSP. They have their some of the programs. They send the doctors from Pakistan to Ireland and UK. So one option is CPSP HSE pathway. You come here, you work here, and then you try to enter into training into Ireland. And then the other one is you just leave Pakistan, come here, work standalone jobs, build your CV up, audits, research, and then do your exams, and then put yourself up for the training slot. The major setback is color of the passport. So Irish nationals are the first one who will be preferred for the training jobs. It's systematic, uh, so it is according to their like criteria, and then the EU nationals, and then non-EU nationals. Recently, they have changed it on stamp four. Stamp four is just like a green card holder, so they can apply, and they will be treated equal to the Irish nationals as well, but it takes 5 years for stamp 4. I won't go into detail at the moment. We'll just want to be quick. So if we talk about number of years, so you have to do BST. So BST is just an alternate of core training of UK in Ireland. So basic specialty training, 2 years, and in ED it's 3 years. So you do 2 to 3 years of your BST, and then again you go to interviews for HST, and then that's the point where the nationality counts. So Then if you are successful, you enter into HST and take some specialty 4 years and some specialty 5 years, and there's no exit exam for that.
Yeah, but for HST, it's almost impossible for
Yeah,
us
yeah.
green passport
For
holders to get
non-Irish
into.
holders, even I have seen
Yeah.
many EU nationals actually.
Hmm.
So like it's not even easy for even EU nationals. I've seen many of the EU nationals who couldn't get HSC. So, and it's 5 years after your 2 to 3 years of BST and interviews and exams. So if you talk about time, it will take at least 7 to 8 years if you go smooth to become a consultant in Ireland. Okay, so that's the setback. If you compare from Pakistan, you'll be consultant in 5 years. In America, 3 years primary care physician, or 5 years or 6 years consultant. In subspecialty in UK, 7 to 8 years, but much smoother than Ireland. So that's the setback of career progression in Ireland.
Yeah, so I personally felt that um, if we want to give advice to doctors out there, Ireland may be a good point to start with if you want to move abroad. Yes, so if
And where
we
maybe
look,
we can just now rephrase and summarize everything.
yeah.
Yeah,
So basically, if you look at Ireland, it's very easy to get into, very less expenses, and you start earning well in immediately with your first job. So that's plus points. But like Dr. Muazzin was explaining, very poor career progression. It's very difficult to become a consultant staying just in Ireland. Time duration is not of importance here because you can't even get into HST, so it doesn't even matter. And if we talk about UK, it's a slightly more difficult to get into with relation to expenses and exams, but financial stability is the same as Ireland, and career progression is pretty good, especially now that UK has had Brexit. So now all the international medical graduates are given the same amount of importance, as in, it's not that EU graduates are given more importance, as is the case in Ireland. So that's one of the major reasons that I personally know many of my class fellows and seniors and juniors who have, gone on to get training in
yeah,
UK.
correct.
So that's the good point about UK. In US, like I said, it's very, very tough to get into because of the exams, very expensive exams. And I know many people who completed the exams and yet still could not get into residency.
Oh,
And
okay.
that resulted in major depression on the
Yeah,
part of those people who invested so much time and money and yet, could not get into the system. So it
yeah,
is very hard, but I don't want to disappoint you. There are people who do get into the system as well, because once you do get into the system, then like I said, sky is the limit. You can do whatever you want. In US, we know is one of the best healthcare systems out there. So you can give it a shot if you want to, and you might be successful. It's that sort of thing. For Pakistan, unfortunately, for Pakistan, it's hard to get into, and even at the end of the day, I would say it doesn't pay off that well as well. So, like, it is very tough. I don't want to cause brain drain from
yeah,
Pakistan,
yeah, yeah.
but unfortunately, that is the
Yeah,
ground
we would
reality.
say
Yeah.
come out of the Pakistan, work in better, get trained in better system, and then go back.
And then go back. Yes,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
right, because there are a lot of people, consultants out there who are earning a lot in Pakistan. So, it comes after a while. And if
if
you
we talk
have,
about, sorry, I'm just
yeah, go on.
speaking in between, but if
Hmm.
if we look at the history, when Arabs were at the peak of the science and everything, Europeans were going into, like, Baghdad and everything,
Yeah.
other cities, and then coming back.
Hmm.
So it's we can do the same, like we
Yeah,
go to
I
UK,
personally do want
America.
to go back. Even
Yeah,
right now, once I become a consultant, I definitely want to go back to Pakistan,
yeah,
because the sort of lifestyle that we enjoy in Pakistan, that is
no
royal.
comparison, no
I would say
comparison.
it's royal compared to
Yeah,
what we're living right
yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, at the end of the day, definitely go back to Pakistan, serve your country. It's the country that made us who we are.
yeah, yeah.
So definitely.
So that's actually summarize everything. I think we don't want to take much of your time. So I think Dr. Farkhanda, do you want to talk about this approach we were just talking about?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
like I said, because it is so hard to earn well in Pakistan at an initial stage of a doctor. So what you can do is that you can come to Ireland on very less expenses. You can gain clinical experience here, earn some money. Once you have that money, you can use that to pay for the entrance exams of either US or UK, and then you can go to one of those countries for your career progression to become a consultant. And at the end of the day, we really hope that you do come back to Pakistan and serve your country.
Yeah, great. So just you can use Ireland as a step ladder and then move
Yes,
forward.
yes,
Yeah, yeah,
indeed.
great. Yeah. So thank you very much. So, and we'll just like to acknowledge Dr. Farkhanda's efforts. And Dr. Farkhanda, would you like to tell us about your magicwithmedicine.com?
Magic with Medicine is a blog that I started way back when I was a medical student. It has evolved a lot over the years, and currently I'm focusing on helping young doctors who aspire to come to Ireland. So I have written on different topics like IMC registration, what are the different training routes in Ireland, how to apply for BST or for GP training, how to do your first job hunt, how to prepare for your interview. And I hope to write on further more topics to help the young Pakistani doctors or even doctors from other nationalities who are coming to Ireland. So I really hope that this effort will be of help to you. You can definitely go on this website, search for whatever you're looking for, and you can ask
And
questions. I have a Facebook page as well, so you can ask me questions on that Facebook page.
yeah,
I
and we'll
really hope.
get these links in the comment section and in the description, sorry, yes, description of this video.
Sure,
So viewers, you can click on the links and access all these blogs.
sure. Thank you so
Okay.
much, Dr. Mazim.
Thank you, Dr. Farkhanda.